जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। 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 जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद। श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद। श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत की विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिदान स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की all glories to assembled devotees, 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 all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavat, Canto 4, chapter number 13. The chapter is titled The Descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. And we are at shlok number or text number 28. So we can repeat. Na vidameha devanam Na vidameha devanam Helanam vayam anvapi Yanna grinanti bhagan swan Ye devaha karma sakshinaha Na vidameha devanam Helanam vayam anvapi Yanna grinanti bhagan swan Ye devaha karma sakshinaha Na vidameha devanam Helanam vayam anvapi Yanna grinanti bhagan swan Ye devaha karma sakshinaha. Na vidameha devanam Helanam vayam anvapi Yanna grinanti bhagan swan Ye devaha karma sakshinaha. Na vidameha devanam Helanam vayam anvapi Yanna bhagan swan Ye devaha karma sakshinaha. Ameha devanam karma sakshinaha. Na vidameha devanam elanam vayamanvapi yana grinanti bhagan swan yedevaha karma sakshinaha. Na vidameha devanam helanam vayamanvapi yanna grinanti bhagan swan ye devaha karma sakshinaha. Na, not. Vidama, can find. Iha, in this connection. Devanam, of the demigods. Helanam, insult or neglect. Vayam, we. Anu, minute. Api, even. Yat, because of which. Na, not. Grinanti, except. Bhagan, shares. Swan, own. Ye, who. Devaha, the demigods. Karma sakshinaha, witnesses for the sacrifice. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Dear King, we do not find any reason that the demigods should feel insulted or neglected in any way. But still the demigods who are witnesses for the sacrifice do not accept their shares. We do not know why this is so. Purport. It is indicated herein that if there is negligence on the part of the priest, the demigods do not accept their share in sacrifices. Similarly, in devotional service, there are offenses known as seva aparad. Those who are engaged in worshipping the deity, Radha and Krishna, in the temple should avoid such offenses in service. The offenses in service are described in the Nectar of Devotion. If we simply make a show of offering services to the deity but do not care for the seva aparad, certainly the Radha Krishna deity will not accept offerings from such non-devotees. Devotees engaged in temple worship should not, therefore, manufacture their own methods, but should strictly follow the regulative principles of cleanliness, and then offerings will be accepted. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deen Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Granthra Srimad Bhagavat ki. So, this chapter, there's a description of the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. So, Dhruva Maharaj is coming from the line of Who is the father of Dhruva Maharaj? Maharaj Uttanapad. So Lord Brahma's son, from Lord Brahma came Shatarupa and Swayambhuva Manu. From their union came two sons, Uttanapad and Priyavrat. Uttanapada's son was Dhruva Maharaj. So this is a glorious dynasty of Swayambhuva Manu. So in this dynasty, Vidura is inquiring from Maitreya Rishi that please tell me who are the other glorious kings who have appeared in this dynasty of Dhruva Maharaj. Because his dynasty is so glorious that hearing this dynasty is as good as hearing the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And that's the whole purpose of Srimad Bhagavat. Because Bhagavat means two things, the person Bhagavat and the book Bhagavat. So going back a little bit, 4th canto, there is a description of the descendants of Swayambhuva Manu's daughters and how the different kings appear in the dynasty of their daughters and their union with the husbands who are mainly big rishis, sapta rishis and the different rishis. In that progression comes the story of Daksha. Daksha is the son-in-law of Swayambhuva Manu. He married the last daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, Ahuti, Devahuti and Prasuti. So the last one, Prasuti, was married to Daksha. So this Daksha, then in the 4th canto it comes about the sacrifice that happened at Daksha's place, and Sati, how she went there and she was neglected, and then she left her body, and Lord Shiva became angry, Virabhadra came, and Daksha's head was severed. So that story comes, and then there is a story of Dhruva Maharaj, and in the story of Dhruva Maharaj, the question about Prachetas come, which is in the beginning of this chapter, and that will be described later on. So these Prachetas are also descendants coming from Dhruva Maharaj. So it's a very glorious dynasty. So Maharaj, Vidura. So Vidura is basically asking this question to Maitreya Muni. And Maitreya Muni is a friend of Vyasadeva. Who is he? He's a friend of Vyasadeva. And who is Vidura? Who's Vidura's father? Vyasadeva. So Vidura's father is Vyasadeva. And if we go back a little bit more, Vyasadev's brother is Vichitravirya, half-brother. And also Bhishmadev is half-brother of Vichitravirya and Vyasadeva. So Vyasadev's father's name is Parashar Muni. So with the union of Parashar and Satyavati, who was born? Vyasadeva. And Satyavati also married Shantanu. And by the marriage of Shantanu and Satyavati, Vichitravirya appeared. Right? Now, Shantanu's another wife was Ganga. And from her took birth Bhishmadev. So these three are half-brothers. Bhishmadev never married. Vichitravirya married Ambika. From them, he couldn't have any sons because he had some disease, serious disease. I was reading some tuberculosis or something. Now, Satyavati ordered Vyasadeva that Bhishma is a brahmachari, he will not have kids, so this dynasty will stop. So you produce kids from Ambalika. So Vyasadeva then produced Pandu and Dhritarashtra. And also from one of the dasis, the dasi means maid servant of Ambalika, he gave birth to whom? Or the dasi gave birth to Vidur. So this Vidura was cursed. He was actually who before in his past life? Yamaraj, Dharmaraj. So there was this one Muni called Mandavya Muni. And this Mandavya Muni was doing meditation in his ashram. And suddenly a gang of thieves, robbers, they came and they hid their loot in his ashram. And they also hid here and there in the ashram. And the king's soldiers, they were running around trying to search for them. And then they came to this ashram. And Mandavya Muni was in his meditation, silent. He was not speaking. So they were like asking him, "Sir, have you seen a bunch of thieves going around, robbers?" And he was not answering. And then they started looking in his ashram and they found the loot. And they also found the thieves. And they thought, okay, this guy is also involved. So they took him to the king. And the king had all of them impaled. It's a very atrocious punishment. So he had him impaled. So Mandavya Muni was very angry with Dharmaraj, Yamaraj, that why I don't see, if I look back in my life, I don't see that I have committed any sin that I should get such a punishment. He was a powerful rishi. So he went to Yamalok and then he questioned Dharmaraj, why have you given me such a harsh punishment? And Dharmaraj said that when you were a small boy, you impaled an insect with a piece of grass. And then Mandavya Rishi became angry and he said, you don't deserve to be on this post. A small boy's offense should be neglected. I should not have been given such a harsh punishment. So then he cursed him that you will become a Shudra in your next. So then Yamaraj became a Shudra and he became who? Vidura. So that is Vidura. So Vidura is Dharmaraj. Dharmaraj means he is one of the Mahajan. So Vidura is already one Mahajan, but still is inquiring. And that's the nature. Even if you are the authority on spiritual subject matters, the inquiry process still goes on. It's always there, right? So this Maitreya is again, he's a friend of Vyasadeva. So if you go back, Srimad Bhagavat, one of the verses, Srimad Bhagavat, Canto 3, verse 25, text 4. Sutta Vacha Dvaipayana Sakhastvenam Maitreyo Bhagavams Tatha. It mentions that Dvaipayana's friend is who? Maitreya. So very intimate relation between Maitreya and Vidura already, because very close friends. Vidura, when he left home, just giving a background of how all this started. So when Vidura left home, he was insulted by Duryodhan and he left home to go to different pilgrimage places. And while he's doing his pilgrimage, he came to the bank of the Yamuna and there he met Uddhava. And then he inquired from Uddhava about the well-being of the Yadu dynasty, about Lord Krishna. But then Uddhava had to break the very sad news that Lord Krishna has disappeared, he has left the planet and all the Yadus have been annihilated. And then Vidura asked that, what was the last instruction you got from Krishna? Please enlighten me on that. And then because Uddhava is junior to Vidura, maintaining that etiquette, he said that when Krishna was leaving this planet, he had instructed Maitreya Muni, who was also there at that time, and he also heard all the divine instruction that Krishna gave to me, and he told him that you give this instruction to whom? Vidura. So when Vidura learned that, okay, my master is so kind to me that at his last moment when he's leaving this planet, he was remembering me, so tears came to his eyes. And then he left that place and he went to Haridwar. And there he met who? Maitreya Muni. And there he started to inquire. And all these inquiries are basically Maitreya Rishi instructing Vidura. Vidura is asking question and Maitreya Muni instructing. And we are hearing it from Shaunaka, then we are hearing from Shukadeva Goswami eventually, right? So that's the whole parampara going there. So, as you mentioned, Vidura is none other than Yamaraj. He's one of the Mahajanas. How many Mahajanas are there? 12. Can we name all of them? Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumara, Kapilo, Manu, Prahlado, Janako, Bhishmo, Balir, Vyasakir, Vayam. So these are 12 Mahajanas. So first is who? Swayambhu, means Brahma. Then second is Narada. Third is Shambhu. Shambhu is who? Lord Shiva. Then Kumara, the Kumaras. The Kumaras, the 4 sons of Brahma. Kumara, Kapilo. Kapilo is who? Kapila Muni. Who is Kapila Muni's father? Kardama. Kardama and whose mother? Devahuti. And Devahuti is the daughter of Swayambhu Manu. You see, all of these are related. So, Swayambhu Manu's daughter Devahuti, son Kapila Dev, is an Acharya. He is, of course, the incarnation of Krishna. So, he is another Mahajan. Then Kapilo Manu. Which Manu we are talking about now? Swayambhu Manu. See, all that family, all of them are there in the Mahajana list. Then Prahlada. Prahlad Maharaj. Janak. Janak Maharaj. Janak Maharaj is who? Father of Sita Devi. Janako Bhishmo. Bhishma Dev. And then who? Balir Vyasakir Vayam. Then Bali Maharaj, a grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. Vyasaki. Who is Vyasaki? Shukadeva Goswami. And Vayam. Who is Vayam? The one who's speaking the verse, that I, Yamaraj. So Yamaraj is speaking this verse to Yamadutas because they did this offense of trying to pull out Ajamil's soul. So that's the little background. So in this chapter, it's described how Dhruva Maharaj, the dynasty, he had this first son Utkal. He didn't accept the Rajya, the kingdom, and he was a Paramhansa. He left and he became a sannyasi and Avdhuta, and he just was wandering around like a deaf and dumb person. Then this Vatsara was his second son, and then that younger son, he became the king, and in his dynasty appeared Maharaj Anga. And in Anga's dynasty, we'll see how Vena, and then Maharaj Prithuvan, and then later on Prachina Barihi, and then the Prachetas. They all appear in this dynasty, right? So in this purport, text 28. There are two very important things that has been discussed by Srila Prabhupada. So verse, if you look at the verse, then it says, the devatas are karma sakshina. Whatever we do, if we are doing something in the darkness, it doesn't mean no one knows. When a thief, they generally they come in, they try to look for the cameras. They think if someone is looking at them, then they should not steal or anything. But if there is no camera, that means no one is looking at them and they are fine. No one will catch them. And they can steal and they can go. But the devatas are looking. The devatas are there. So devatas are karma sakshina. How are they karma sakshina? So Srila Prabhupada explains, so there is this one verse, again in 3rd canto, very nice verse. Let me bring that up. Yeah. So Srimad Bhagavat, Canto 3, Chapter 20, verse 13. Rajah pradhanan mahatas trilingo daiva choditat jatah sasarja bhutadir vyad adini panchashah. This last line is very important. As impelled by the destiny of the jiva, the false ego, which is of 3 kinds, evolved from the Mahat Tattva, in which the element of Rajas predominates. From the ego in turn evolved many groups of 5 principles. Many groups of 5 principles. So Srila Prabhupada said there are very famous 5 of 5. 5 of 5. So the first is the 5 gross elements. What are the 5 gross elements? Earth. Yeah, we'll start earth, water, fire, air and ether. And then the next 5 are the 5 tanmatras, or the 5 sense objects, which are related to these 5 elements. What are those? What's related to earth? What's the specific about earth? Fragrance. What is specific about water? Taste. Specific about fire? Form. And then air? Touch. Ether? Sound. So these are the 5 tanmatras. And then the next set of 5 is the 5 senses, which are the knowledge acquiring senses. What are those? Again connected to these 5 sense objects. Ear, eyes, nose, skin, tongue. Right? So again they're connected, you can connect them, right? And then there are 5 senses that are working senses. What are those? Yeah, so speech, hands, legs, the genitals, and the evacuating organ, these 5. And then the next 5 are the demigods that are controlling these senses. So they're 5 of 5, right? The next set of 5 are the demigods who are controlling the senses, which is this word, karma sakshina. Huh? Yes. So, starting with the senses, we'll start with the eyes. Who is the demigod of eyes? Agni. So that's the demigod of sight. The demigod of tongue, Varuna. Right? The demigods of hearing. Who's the demigod of hearing? The Dikpalas. The Dikpalas are the controllers of the directions. How many controllers are there of the direction? So yeah, I was reading. It mentioned 8. So starting with east, you go clockwise. East, south, west, north, southeast, southwest, northwest, northeast. Now this is from my direction. For you it will be flipped. East. Who is the controlling deity of east? Indra. South, Yamaraj. Now when we say east, north, this is not from the earth's perspective. It is the universe. So it's a three-dimensional east, west, north, south. It is not the east, west, north, south that we look on the map, right? So within the universe, there is east, west, north, south, and this three-dimensional direction, right? East is Indra, south is Yamaraj, west is Varuna, north is Kubera. We'll repeat this, we'll see how much we remember. And then the north is who? Kubera. Then southeast, southeast is Agni. Southwest is Nirriti. Nirriti is the controlling deity of death. And then there is northwest, Vayu. And the northeast is who? Lord Shiva. So these Dikpalas, they control our hearing. Who controls touch? Vayu. Vayudev. Right? Right? So this way the demigods control. And then the working senses, 5 working senses. Who are the controllers of the 5 working senses? Who is the controller of speech? Agni. Who is the controller of hands? Indra. Who is the controller of the feet? Lord Vishnu. Vishnu. Lord Vishnu. Right? So that way these demigods, they are karma sakshina. They control all our activities and they know what we are doing. Even if it is a darkness, you think that sun is not seeing us. No, the sun is looking at. The controller of the eyes is, sun. So every demigod is basically writing down what we are doing. Not writing down, but they are sakshi. So Chitragupta is noting everything down. There are agents who know what we are doing, even though we think no one is looking at us. It's being noted. And then the evacuating organ is, who is the controlling demigod of that? Mitra, one of the demigods. And for the genitals, it is the Prajapatis. Right? So we discussed this. And then here there is another, in the purport, this very important point. Now, this Maharaj Anga, he was doing an Ashwamedha Yagya. And Ashwamedha Yagya, in that yagya, it was supposed that the demigods would come personally and accept their sacrifices, their shares. But no one appeared. So he took the permission of the priests and broke his silence and then asked them, what is the reason that they are not coming? Right? And then they said that we don't see anything that we have done wrong, that they should not come. So in this verse it says, Helanam vayam anu api, that we have not even done a minute mistake. What to speak of a blunder? We have not even done a minute mistake, so we really don't know why the demigods are not appearing. So they were trying to just say that it's not our fault. Now Prabhupada says that if there is a negligence on part of the priest, the yagya is incomplete, the demigods do not appear. Similarly, when we are serving the deities, there are offenses called seva aparadh. If we do that, then Krishna is not obliged to take our service. He is not obliged. He is obliged to take our service if we have devotion in our hearts. And if we are following the rules of cleanliness, the rules of deity worship as laid down by our acharyas, starting with Narada Muni. So, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Prabhupada gave a summary study, the Nectar of Devotion. If you go to chapter 8, there are around 32 offenses that one can do against the deities. So I was reading through them, and some of them are very interesting. I think we should read them. And then there are another 28 from the Varaha Purana, and they are very very important, and we should try to avoid these offenses. The number one offense is that we should not enter the temple of a deity in a car or a palanquin or with shoes on. One should not fail to observe the various festivals for the pleasure of the Lord, like Janmashtami or Rath Yatra. Third is, one should not avoid bowing down before the deity. Sometimes we are in a rush, we come and we just go out. We think, okay, we have offered our obeisances in the morning, and then, okay, it's fine not to do it again when we are entering the temple hall. We should always offer our obeisances to the deities, unless we are physically not capable. If we are, we should offer and then we should go. Raghunath Das Goswami was offering some thousands of obeisances every day to the Vaishnavas. He would recall their names, offer their obeisance. Recall their names, offer obeisances. So we should offer obeisances to the deity. Fourth is, we should not enter the temple to worship the Lord without having washed our hands and feet after eating. So it's a very good practice that we should wash our hand and feet. We should not. So the story where of I'm forgetting. So that she did not wash her hands and feet, and then Indra entered the body, and the Maruts were born. The 49 Maruts were born. I'm forgetting the name of that lady. Who was that? Yeah, so that will also come. But we should be very careful that we should wash our feet. One should not enter the temple in a contaminated state. So if someone has died in the family, so based on the Vedic regulations, we should avoid that period and not come to the temple. Then one should not circumambulate in front of Shri Krishna. So if the deity's darshan is open, we should not circumambulate anyone. That's why when Tulsi Mahan we are circumambulating, the curtains are closed. And then we should go around the temple, Prabhupada says, if possible. One should not spread his legs before the deity. Generally, newer people, they come and they spread their legs because they don't have an understanding of the deity. One should not lie down before the deity of Krishna. One should not accept prasad before the deity. We should not eat in front of the deity. One should never speak a lie in front of the deity. We should not speak a lie. One should not talk with others before the deity. This is very common. We start talking, oh Prabhu, so what's going on? Oh, I'm going there, what's about this? Where's that devotee, this and that? We should not talk in front of the devotees. We should go talk outside the temple hall. This place is only for the glorification of the Lord. And of course, if you have to talk about service, that's fine, but no gossiping in front of the Lord. Right? One should not speak harshly before the deity. We should not speak harshly. We should not speak harshly. And then one should not be charitable before the deities. It's not that you see a poor person in front of the deity and you give him some money. You can do it outside, but not in front of the deity. That's an offense. One should not wear a fur blanket in front of the deity. One should not praise anyone before the deity. Oh Prabhu, you are doing such wonderful service. You are so great. You are doing this, this and that. No, do that outside of the temple. This place, you just glorify Krishna. Okay, well, let's keep that for outside. One should not speak any ill names before the deity. Understood. One should not pass air before the deity. One should not fail to worship the deity according to one's means. If one has means, one should worship the deity like in that way. So if he has money, he should opulently worship Krishna, not just offer patram, pushpam, phalam and be done. And then it says, one should not eat anything not offered to the deity. One should not fail to offer fresh fruit to the deity. And anything that is not offered first should not be taken. One should not sit with his back facing the deity. Sometimes new people, they come and they try to take selfies with the deities. So we should stop them. One should not fail to offer some praise in presence of the spiritual master. One should not praise himself before the spiritual master. Sometimes during glorification of Srila Prabhupada, it turns the other way around. And then the glorification, self-glorification begins. One should not deride the demigods before the deity. We should be very careful. We should not do that. And then the Varaha Puran, there are 28 something else. So we should read that too. One should not touch the deity in a dark room. You should turn the lights on, then touch the deity. One should not fail to strictly follow the rules and regulations in worshipping a deity. One should not enter the deity before making a sound. That's why when we enter the temple room, we knock the door, ring the bell. In India, if you go to the temples, they have a big bell outside. And the reason is that you first knock and come in. It's etiquette. One should not offer any food to the deity which is seen by dogs or other lower animals. The reason we cover the food and then we offer to the deities. One should not break silence while worshipping. We should be silent. One should not pass urine or evacuate while engaged in worshipping. One should not offer incense without offering some flower. Unless flowers without any fragrance, or useless flowers without any fragrance should not be offered. In America, and these hybrid flowers, they have no smell. They look so nice, as if coming from Nandankan, but they have no fragrance, so they are not fit to be offered. We have to put itra on that flower to make it fragrant. Right? The flowers in Braja, Vrindavan, like these small flowers, and gulab and this champa, chameli, bela, they are so fragrant, and they are fit to be offered to the Lord. One should not fail to wash his teeth very carefully every day. One should not enter the temple directly after having sexual intercourse. One should not enter the temple after touching a woman during her menstrual period. One should not enter the temple after touching a dead body. One should not enter the temple wearing garments of red or blue color, or garments which are not washed. One should not enter the temple after seeing a dead body. One should not pass air within the temple. One should not be angry within the temple. Yeah, we should not be angry within the temple. If something has to be discussed, and if there is heated conversation, we should take it out. It's an offense to the deity. We should not enter the temple after visiting a crematorium. So we should be careful about that. One should not belch before the deity. And Prabhupada says that if you are going to do deity worship, make sure you have your food a few hours before so that it's all fully digested. Not that you're burping in front of the deities. It's an offense. One should not take any opium or any kind of intoxicants. One should not enter the deity room after smearing oil. So if you have deity worship, you should not put like body lotion, lip balm and all of that and then go to worship the deities. It's an offense. You should not do that. One should not show disrespect to a scripture teaching about the supremacy of the Lord, which means the scriptures from the other religions as well. We should not do that. One should not chew betel before the deity. One should not offer a flower that has been kept in an unclean pot. One should not worship the Lord while sitting on the bare floor. And that's the reason we have asanas. So we should use the asanas. We should not touch the deity before one has completely finished taking his bath. One should not decorate his forehead with 3-lined tilaka. This is for the Vaishnavas. We should not put the 3 lines of tilaka that is done by the Mayavadis. We should not do that. One should not enter the temple without washing his hands and feet. So these are the offenses that we should avoid. And when we avoid these offenses, Krishna becomes pleased and he accepts our offerings. Otherwise, he is not obliged to accept our offerings. He is not obliged. Prabhupada says, if we simply make a show of offering services to the deity, but do not care for seva aparad, certainly the Radha Krishna deity will not accept offerings from such non-devotees. He even goes on to say that that person is what? To that extent a non-devotee. So we should be very careful. And in the discussion about the demigods, we said they are karma sakshi, and then we discussed these 5 sense organs that are knowledge acquiring and 5 that are working. What's the purpose of these senses? The purpose is to do what? Yeah, so Rishikena Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. So bhakti means that these senses that have been given to us conditioned souls, this whole creation process, the sarga, visarga, why is this there? So that the living entities can engage their senses in serving the master of the senses, Rishikesha. And who's the best example of engaging all his senses in Bhagavatam, in Krishna's service? Ambarish Maharaj. Right? So 9, 4, 18, 19 and 20. Canto 9, chapter 4, verses 18, 19, 20. So these 3 verses we should all try to remember and remember by heart. Right? So the first verse, 18th verse is, the first thing that he applies to Krishna's lotus feet is what? Which sense? Again, there are 5 senses, but there is one sense called the mind, which is the king of all the senses. And who is the controller of mind? No. It is said the moon is the controller of mind, but then it is also the controlling deity is said to be Aniruddha. Moon. They say moon is the controller of mind. Moon. But then it's also said that the controlling deity of the mind is Aniruddha. The controlling deity of intelligence is who? Pradyumna. The controlling deity of false ego? Maybe someone can look up. Lord Shiva. Right? So all these senses should be engaged in the service of Krishna, and that is bhakti. When Prabhupada translated the word bhakti, what did he give the English equivalent to bhakti? Devotional service. He didn't say devotion, he didn't say worship. What did he say? Devotional service. So this devotional service means that it's an active principle. The living entities are active. And activity means serving the Lord. So devotional service, bhakti means devotional service. So how do you serve? Using your senses? There's no other way to serve. Right? Even if you use your mind, you're still using something to serve. You just cannot do it. Without utilizing the equipments or the instruments that Krishna has given us, we cannot serve him. Right? So Amrish Maharaj was a perfect example of utilizing all his senses in Krishna's service. So the verse goes like this: Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor vachamsi vaikuntha gunanu varnane karau harer mandira marjanadishu shrutim chakara chuta sat kathodaye. So he used his mind to do what? Savai mana Krishna padara vinde. He used his mind to meditate on Krishna's lotus feet. Savai mana Krishna padara vinde vachamsi vaikuntha Gunarnu Varnane. And then his Vachamsi means speech. Speech to do what? To glorify the Lord. Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunarnu Varnane. To glorify Lord Vaikuntha. Lord Vaikuntha is also name of Vishnu. Vaikuntha is the Dham also, but is name of Lord Vishnu also. So Gunarnu Varnane of whom? Lord Vaikuntha. Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunarnu Varnane. Karau Harera Mandira Marjanadishu. And using his hands to do what? Clean the temple. Mandira Marjana Adishu. Starting with, Adi means starting. Starting with cleansing the temple. There are many other services that we can do. So he was using his hands for that. Karau Harera Mandira Marjana Adishu. Shrutim Chakara Chutasat Kathodage. And he was using his, Shruti means the power of hearing. To do what? Chakara means to engage. He was engaging his hearing, the power of hearing to hear the, Achyuta Sat Kathodage. The pious activities of Lord Shri Krishna, Achyuta. Then the next verse is Mukunda Linga Laya Darshane Drishau. Then he used his eyes to do what? To take darshan of Mukunda. Who's Mukunda? Krishna. Mukunda Linga. Mukunda Linga means the deity of Krishna. And Alaya. What does Alaya mean? You heard the word Vidyalaya? Vidyalaya. Alaya means a place. So Mukunda Linga Alaya. What is the place where there is Mukunda's deity? Temple. Right? So he was using his eyes to look at the deities in the temple of Lord Vishnu. And also Alaya means Krishna's own home, which means Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka, or similar other holy places. So he would use his eyes to take darshan of the deities in these holy places. Mukunda Linga Alaya Darshane Drishau. And what's the next line? Do you have that open, Mataji? Mukunda Linga Alaya Darshane Drishau. We can quickly open that. These verses. Yeah, let me quickly open that. Yeah, Tad Bhritya Gatra Sparshanga Sangamam. And then he used his sense of touch to do what? To touch the devotees. So what does it mean by touching the devotees? You know that we go around touching the devotees. Yeah, touching their lotus feet or massaging their lotus feet, serving them in different ways as a menial servant. Then, Ghranam Chatat Pada Saroja Saurabhe. And then he used his sense of smell to do what? To smell the flowers offered to Krishna. And then, Srimad Tulasya Rasanamta Darpite. And then on his tongue, what he did? He placed the tulsi that was offered at the lotus feet of Krishna. So he was using his tongue to taste the tulsi. Then Padav Harer Kshetra Padanu Sarpane. And then he used his feet to do what? To go around the different holy places of pilgrimage. He would do parikrama, he would walk around and visit different places of pilgrimage. And Shiro Rishikesha Padabhi Vandane. And then he used his head for offering obeisances to the deity. Kamam Chadasye Natu Kama Kamyaya. And then all his desires he engaged in serving the Lord. And then it says, Natu Kama Kamyaya. He did not use the desires to satisfy his own senses. He was only satisfying the desires of Krishna. Why? Yathottama shloka janashraya rati. So that he could develop the love and attachment that those devotees have achieved in whom such love reside. Right? Janashraya rati. The rati who was taking ashraya in the devotees, that rati he wanted to develop by doing all these different activities. So Amrish Maharaj is an example where all of the senses are engaged in Krishna's service, and we should try to follow that. And that's the reason we have all these senses that Krishna has given us to engage in his service. So with that, I think we have covered all the points that Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in this purport. If there is any question, we can discuss. We have 5 minutes. anything you want to discuss or any points that you want to talk? Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, nice class. So my question is, like while performing devotional service or while engaging in different service in temple, we are often unaware of the offenses, which are like like big in numbers, like you said, like 32 offenses. So how do we like do our service and also be aware of these offenses at the same time, because these are too many, and oftentimes we kind of space out. So how to try to avoid these offenses, if not at all, but to some level?
Yeah, that's the whole point, that we continuously read, and then at one point Krishna within us, he will guide us, and then practice makes one's perfect. So you keep reading, and then now see, there are 10 offenses of the holy name, we know that, right? So a material example, when you see a red light, you stop. It's natural, right? Now because you are accustomed, it's within you. You are accustomed, and then you stop automatically. There's so many rules the government has made. We follow that. We file our taxes on time, right? We know the repercussions. If we don't do that, then there's not going to be good, right? So we know all of that, and then we follow. Similarly, when we are serious about devotional service, and when we read these books, when we understand that what we should not do and what we should do, then one who is serious, he will automatically follow that, right? It may be that out of practice we may do something wrong or some offense, but those will be overcome if we are serious. As Gaur Govind Maharaj would say, there is hope if you are conscious, but there is no hope if you are callous. If you are callous, there's no hope. But if you are conscious and still committing mistakes, there is hope. Callous. So we continue to read, continue to practice, continue to practice those principles. When the time comes, then gradually that will be imbibed in us, and then it will be natural. It will be automatic at one point. Does that answer, bro? Yeah. Mataji also had a question first.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the lovely class, for going through the lineage, and also for reading these offenses. I was going to encourage the community to read these lists of offenses regularly, because if you only read Nectar of Devotion once a year, then it goes away. Right. So it's very helpful to go down the list. There's so many things that I haven't absorbed yet. So it's very good. To answer Sandesh's question, there's another remedial measure you can take, which is to recite this Sri Aparad Shodhana. After taking care of the deities in whatever way, it's always helpful to recite these prayers and ask for forgiveness. And they're very, it's not that long, and it's a beautiful way to acknowledge that I'm defective, I'm going to make mistakes. So it's very helpful to have this technology at our fingertips. Thank you for the beautiful class.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the nice point.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. I have a question. What you mentioned all these different demigods controlling all our actions. Mm-hmm. How is it that sometimes we can see when a public figure that is engaging in certain activities that just like you mentioned, that are controlling by these demigods, but we don't see that he's being I wouldn't say punished, but that there is no reaction to his activities, which can be impious in a sense. So what do we think about this? That the person can keep going in his line of work for an extended period of time, and there's engaging in a lot of basically criminal activities, and there's no reaction to it. What can you say about it?
But there's always an end to that. So we see from history, in very recent history, Hitler, Mussolini, all of them, they're all dead, they're gone. Then they had really pathetic deaths. Hitler shot himself. Mussolini was brutally killed, hanged, slashed, all of that. So in public, he was put in public display. So things end. The prarabdha is there. You can enjoy as much as your bank balance. There is money. You can enjoy as much as you can. You can enjoy as much as you can, as much money is there in your bank balance. But once your check starts to bounce, you are gone, right? And then you have to suffer. So good and bad, they don't cancel out each other. It's not like a positive or negative thing. That you have to get, you'll eat the sour fruit of your bad karmas, and then you'll have the sweet fruits of your punya karma. It's not that the sour and sweet will mix to become some kind of other fruit. No, you have to go through both, and that person may look like that. Okay, he's enjoying. There's no stopping him. But then the devas are there. Then the destiny is there. So when time is ripe, when his karma is up, then he will get punished. There's no doubt about it. That's how the laws of nature work. It's not the human laws that you can just go around. These laws cannot be avoided. When we go in front of Dharmaraj, all the movie that we have acted along this whole life, it will be shown to us like a movie, and then we'll say, oh, I was doing this. Then you cannot say anything, because then these devas, they are the witnesses. They are error free, not like error prone like us. Yeah, he must have something. He must have something. Gahana karmano gati. The gati of karma is very difficult to understand. So, we can just leave it there, I think. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. When we were reading the list of offenses against the deity, one of them is wearing a blanket in front of the deity. And sometimes it says
Fur blanket.
Fur blanket. Sometimes it says wool. I've read some places the list, it's translated different ways. It can say just blanket, it can say wool blanket, it can say fur blanket. And I've always wondered this about wearing a chadar in front of the deities, because a chadar is basically a blanket. And it feels, I don't know, should I be wearing it in front of the deities? Should I? And then also I read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's, I'm completely forgetting the name of this devotee, but he, it's in Antilila. He kind of was going through something, and he frantically came before the Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he paid his obeisances. And Mahaprabhu's associate next to him was saying, "Oh, you didn't take off your coat or something."
Yeah, so that was Shrikanta. He was a niece of Shivananda Sena. I think Nityananda Prabhu had kicked him because all of the arrangement was not ready, and he was getting impatient, so he kicked him. And then he left, and then he went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he offered his obeisances without removing his upper garment. The tradition is that you remove your upper garments and then you offer obeisances. I mean, if you start doing that in New York, this weather, then most of us will have pneumonia. So, again, time, place, and circumstance, right? So, at that time, of course, Jagannath Puri, and that time they would take the upper garments off and then offer full obeisances. So, Mahaprabhu said, okay, it's fine, he's upset, let him do, he's a boy, let him do that. So, that was the case there. But this fur blanket, I'm not sure, when you're offering worship to the deity, you don't wear. But I think even standing for darshan, I'm not sure. Maybe Prabhu can.
I think you said it right. And then Lord Chaitanya said, no, servant So if Lord Chaitanya is absolving one in a very unique situation of the standard rule and regulation, then we shouldn't have any doubt or confusion about that, because the object of the rules and regulations being followed for in the first place is waiving it, taking in consideration the extraordinary situation.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Krishna Kripa, Prabhu.
One point that comes up in the discussion of the offenses in deity worship is that the chanting of the holy name can free one from the reaction of such offenses, but if one is sloppy in his deity worship, thinking that, oh, my chanting of the holy name will free me from the reactions, then that's committing sins on the strength of chanting, and that's even worse. So sometimes people make that point. And did you mention, I heard you mention 8 of the 10 directions. Did you mention the other 2?
Yeah, if you can elaborate on those other 2 directions, Prabhu, please.
Oh yeah, the other 2 are up and down, and I'm not sure who's controlling them.
Yeah, I couldn't find, like, yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. Thank you for your class. It was very informative. Maybe we should post a sign of all the offenses so people don't commit them.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And provide facility for people to wash their feet.
Thank you, Prabhu.
In the Antya-lila chapter, Rasanatha-Goswami meets the Lord. The section describing the Chiddahi Mahotsav. When it was all said and done, Raghava Pandit was giving a review of what of the glories of the festival, which Raghunatha Goswami organized to encourage him. You know, sometimes we do something and we feel lacking or we didn't do good enough, but then another devotee of contemporary scene said, no, it was very good, you don't have to worry, you know. So he was saying one statement, it's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya that he accepted all of these dealings. So, the festival, you could say, well, it wasn't planned for how many people were going to show up, because those who couldn't get a seat had to go to the bank of the Ganges to soak their chipped rice and yogurt and eat it there. And even those who couldn't get a place on the bank of the Ganges, they had to wade into the river a little bit. And Lord Chaitanya, he was following Lord Nityananda around and and Lord Nityananda was taking a morsel of prasadam from everybody's plate and putting it into Lord Chaitanya's mouth to taste. So you could say, well, that's quite a stretch, from the cleanliness that we maintain in the deity worship. But it was all on the platform of mercy and love of Godhead. And Raghava Pandit saying it is the great mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He accepted all of these dealings, which you could arguably say have some discrepancy or fault in them.
Thank you. Very nice point.
I'm just would like to maybe ask in response to Kana Gopal Prabhu about the chadar. The deities are wearing chadar sometimes, so I wouldn't be that okay for the devotees to wear chadar.
The deities wear chadar, and is it okay for devotees to wear chadar? Is that the question? Deities are also standing the whole day, man. So, deities are also standing the whole day, like they're standing. So we also cannot imitate the deities. So we just cannot stand the whole day in one place either. So the deities are deities, and we are devotees. So we just do what we are told by our acharyas, and the rules and regulations. As much as we can follow, we follow. And if there is some limitation because of our health or because of the situation, then we beg forgiveness. To the Lord, and then the Lord is kind, He'll forgive us if it's a genuine prayer. I think I can answer that way. All right. Granthra Srimad Bhagavad ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.